Okay, thank you very much for having me here. And I guess I will continue as a trend talking about Germany and going into even more institutional details. So I'm Anton Nivorozhkin. I'm from the IAB Nuremberg, and this is a joint work with my colleague. And what we're looking here, and that something which IAB and myself been looking since many years now, is the role of welfare benefits and unemployment benefits in explaining various personal outcomes. And yeah. And our idea here is simple: to present new evidence on how unemployment benefits may impact life satisfaction. And in doing so, we account for variation in unemployment benefit regime available to people that become unemployed in Germany. And in the second step, and also similar to previous presentation, we are looking into various channels that can explain differential effects of unemployment benefit, various regimes of unemployment benefits on individual well-being. And here we will look into issues of psychological well-being and financial well-being. And some words about why is it important to study unemployment benefits and how they impact life satisfaction is twofold. On the one hand, and that was said in the previous presentation, the first presentation, unemployment benefits, they tend to, generous unemployment benefits, they tend to increase individual life satisfaction because they help to smooth consumption as well as protect individuals and households from the risk of poverty. On the other, they also, generous unemployment benefit would be a way to help people to find a job and match them better to the jobs. On the other hand, too generous unemployment benefits and too generous social state may discourage actually active job search and lead to prolonged spells of unemployment, which in turn would impact government budgets. And so in that sense, there is always a trade-off between either making benefits generous or provide incentives to people by pushing them back into jobs, either by cutting benefit levels or increasing conditionality. And in terms of conditionality requirements, we are talking about year 2005, so large change in paradigm in Germany, where hard-sphere reform were introduced, which basically introduced extremely strong means test, as well as increased monitoring and sanctions for non-compliance. So in that sense, it is a way of arguing that conditionality requirements for some unemployed people in Germany has increased. And so what our main research question? So first, our research question is how does variation in benefit generosity and conditionality regime affects life satisfaction of unemployed? And here, this end, we're using variation of unemployment benefit unemployment benefit schemes that are available to people that are unemployed in Germany. So it's either normal contributory unemployment benefit scheme, I'm going to talk about that in a second, or welfare benefits. And second, we are trying to single out factors that can mediate or channels different effect of different unemployment benefit regimes on life satisfaction. Here we are talking about social participation, social standing, and satisfaction is a standard. Boring stuff, but needs to be talked about is institutional framework in Germany. So there are two benefit schemes available to people. So first one is a typical scheme, which is contributory-based unemployment insurance benefit, which is about 67%, paid up to 2 years in some cases, and you have to be employed previously. You have to contribute to unemployment insurance fund. And second, if household income is lower than threshold defined by policymakers, then you are eligible to receive means tested unemployment benefit 2, which is basically a synonym to welfare benefit. And in order to get welfare benefit, you have to provide a lot of information about household income. You have means test would take into account your household income, assets, expenditures on essential items. amount of benefit is fixed and is quite low. Actually, it's around 500 euros right now. And many people are unemployed, but you don't have to be unemployed in order to receive that benefit. But we are concentrating here only on people that are unemployed. And as well, welfare benefits, they do have much stronger conditionality requirement in a sense of stricter job search requirements, availability conditions, monitorings, and sanctions. To compare changes in life satisfaction upon entering unemployment, we are using here panel study of labor market and social security, which is also a large data set available in Germany right now, which has, by the way, now 14 waves, and it does include around 130,000 people. We are concentrating here on a period of 2007-2021, and I do restrict now the sample to people that are between 18 to 58 in order to avoid issues of early retirement, as well as some kind of withdrawal from job search activities due to old age if you are part of the welfare benefit system. So our analytical sample is around 100,000 people, 110,000 people, and yes. And some words about our empirical approach. So our dependent variable is life satisfaction score, which is built on 11-point scale. We are using here standard fixed effect regression, but just separating between entering and staying in one state. We do use here a bunch of additional controls, and we run separate regressions for men and women, as was mentioned before. So in order to look into the channels of the effect of welfare benefit condition, welfare benefits of life satisfaction, we are using here a stepwise approach. So just simply throwing new variables and seeing how relations between indicators of welfare benefits change upon controlling for our possible channels. Some descriptive statistics. So basically, this is labor market states, and as I mentioned, we are distinguishing between entering and staying in one state. And coming to point of distinguishing between entering with various benefits, so we're basically distinguishing between entering with unemployment benefit 1 or unemployment benefit 2, which is the welfare benefit. It's also possible that you've been poor before and lost the job. So in that sense, your household was receiving unemployment benefit 2, and basically nothing has changed for you in terms of your income, as well as to a large extent conditionality requirements. And finally, there is a possibility that that you become unemployed and you do not receive unemployment and you do not apply to receive unemployment benefits. So all in all, what one could say here, that basically people that are basically staying employed throughout the analysis and do not experience transition are usually most satisfied. Then comes people that are out of labor force, unemployed. And if we are comparing here, and that's our key variables which we are comparing here, if we are comparing life satisfaction score of people that enter unemployment receiving unemployment benefit 2 and unemployment benefit 1 and unemployment benefit 2 welfare benefits, we see quite a large difference here, and this difference persists for women as well as for men. So results of the fixed effect regression. So I'm showing you only key variables here, mainly effect of becoming unemployed and receiving either unemployment benefit 1, contributory based benefit, or unemployment benefit 2. So there are two takes from those results. First of all, unemployment benefit 1, unemployment benefit 2, welfare benefit is associated with much larger decrease in life satisfaction upon entering unemployment compared to unemployment benefit 1. And that's true for men and for women. And here is also formal test. Difference is statistically significant. So for women, the difference is around 46 points on life satisfaction scale, and for men it's quite lower. It's around 0.25 points on life satisfaction scale. I'm not stopping on those two groups. a lot because there is quite a few observations, and also there is a possibility here that there is a strong self-selection going on. And second point, which needs to be observed here, is that usually one finds that women tend to suffer from unemployment less than men. That's true for unemployment benefit. One, recipients, contributory unemployment benefit, one contributory unemployment benefit, and that's not holding for group that receives unemployment benefit too. So, and for women entering unemployment and receiving at the same time unemployment benefit too, or welfare benefit, results in larger drop in life satisfaction. Depending on the definition of the sample, so basically age differences affect this difference between those two coefficients may become significant or insignificant. So in this case, it stays insignificant. But still, the relationship or direction of the relationship shows that women suffer more in case of entering unemployment and receiving welfare payments. We're talking about ways why would people suffer more if they receive unemployment benefit too. So there are multiple channels here, and we are investigating at least 3 of them. So it's basically benefit stigma. People that receive welfare benefits may feel themselves stigmatized. Second of all, there is a strong conditionality requirements that are attached to unemployment benefit to or welfare benefit, which results from means test, loss of economic independence, as well as activation programs, and so on. And finally, there is also an issue of fall in living standards. Although we are controlling in our regressions for household income, there is still a possibility that households might feel deprived in some ways, or there is a certain thresholds in income which does influence people. Which does influence people's life satisfaction. So basically, this is a result of stepwise procedure of including one or another channel, and reduced model shows you basically original results. So not controlling for those indicators, and full model is controlling for those indicators. Difference, a simple difference between those two regressions, and they also give you a sense of how much percentage terms to each channel contribute to the reduction of the effect. And we do it separately for unemployment benefit 1 and unemployment benefit 2. And basically what we find here is that social participation has very limited propensity to reduce life satisfaction both for women and for men. Social standing has a little bit more effect here, and what's important here is that basically it's satisfaction with a living standard, which does influence or which does account for a large share of fall in large share in fall in life satisfaction upon entering unemployment. So it does moderate around 35 to 47% of the effect. Basically, what one could see as well, that fall in living standard has much stronger effect for unemployment benefit 2 comparing to unemployment benefit 1. And once again, this is already controlling for current level of income of the household. Results are kind of similar for men and women, so we are not able to decrease the gap between men and women in terms of life satisfaction. So to sum up, we are using here large data set. We are looking here into effect of unemployment entry and how it affects life satisfaction. And what we show here is that basically unemployment benefits or type of unemployment benefit person receives, it does play a critical role in explaining the overall effect of unemployment entry, and transition to unemployment with unemployment benefit 2 or welfare benefit is associated with much larger decrease in life satisfaction comparing to contributory unemployment benefit. And our mediation analysis, it does show that basically change in satisfaction with standards of living, it does account for largest part of the relationship. Question here is how come, why is it so, why even after controlling for current level of income, household income, we are still finding here that standards of living plays a critical role. It could be an issue of deprivation, and we are basically looking into it right now, as well as playing around with different forms of mediation analysis. Thank you.
I have a question that I guess really applies to both you and Laszlo. Can you put this in context with other countries? This is just off the top of my head. How different are the trade unions in Germany? And I guess maybe we'll come back to this afterwards. Or these benefit schemes from other countries. So would you expect similar results in other countries? And then other questions, anyone else? Francesco.
Well, mine is actually very small. I was looking at your coefficient plots and looking at the standard errors, or the confidence interval bars. I had the feeling that they were overlapping across coefficients. So natural question is, are those coefficients statistically different from each other?
Exactly, they are.
Okay.
They are. So basically, effect of unemployment benefit 1 and effect of unemployment benefit 2 is different in both for men and women. So it's so those gaps are statistically different. Yes.
Across schemes?
Across as well. For men and women, if you're comparing men and women, no.
Within,
yes. Within, yes. If you are comparing unemployment benefit 1 and unemployment benefit 2. And
I wanted to follow up on that. When you include the additional control variables, is that also the case? The question you asked, if you look at this sort of social participation, it seemed to me as if that were no longer the case. It would be interesting to.
I have not tested it in this regression. Yeah, okay. So it used to be the case, but yes, it used to be the case, but I need to check it on scale.
Yeah, hi. I was just wondering if you had regions or some kind of subnational level in your controls, because it has been shown that unemployment bothers people less if they are surrounded with other unemployed. So if the whole region or neighborhood, whatever, is also full of other people in misery, then my own misery is not so bad.
Thank you. I don't have okay, slides. So here I need to check, but anyway, regional level of unemployment on a small scale region. So it's about public employment office region defined by public employment office. Control is included over there, as well as we are controlling for East-West, as far as I remember now. And maybe to address your question. So basically, if the results could be generalized, I believe so. So if one follows the discussion about activation regimes in OECD countries, and basically OECD was first summarizing the results and pushing countries, or maybe advising countries to increase activation, to increase conditionality, to provide means for people in terms of active labor market programs to enter employment, and that employment is the best way of escaping poverty as well as increasing life satisfaction, as we see from the results. And the strand of increasing conditionality, reducing generosity of unemployment benefits, and particularly welfare benefits, I should say, it did manifest itself in many OECD countries throughout the last 15 years, maybe even more than a decade. Things are changing right now. So even in Germany, which was one of the model countries in terms of activating people and increasing conditionality requirements, now there is a change in trend. So by introduction of Bürgergeld, citizens' income part of conditionality requirements are relaxed, as well as generosity of unemployment benefit is increasing right now. But well, I guess results should contribute, may contribute to this discussion. I should mention this is the first time I'm presenting that one.
So the natural sort of thought to study this question would be to use the Hartz reform, right? Where some people were moved from Arbeitslosengeld 1 to Arbeitslosengeld 2. Some people, you roll your eyes, so I think you know where you're going. So please explain why that wouldn't be a feasible strategy here.
Well, first of all, PASS has a huge advantage in the sense that it does oversample welfare benefit recipients. It has started collecting the data since 2007, so Hartz reform is 2005, 6, so basically it's already post-treatment people that enter. So it's not that easy. One has to rely on social economic panel, which wouldn't give you enough observations. So after all, entering unemployment simultaneously with falling into poverty, state-defined poverty, is kind of seldom event. So that's not feasible from the data point, from the number of the observations. And basically, I also had the privilege to observe change in Hartz, change to Hartz here. It did have quite a lot of setbacks, and especially first year, that was not very clear who is eligible still, how data is collected, and so on welfare benefits. Yes.